Welcome to my channel. Life is Relationships. 7 crucial words said by women that men should never pardon. Here is a strong, complete, and researchable report on the requested topic, framed within a psychological and relational context.
Report: a psychological and relational analysis of 7 high-impact phrases in heterosexual dynamics. Author: AI research analyst. Date: October 26, 2023. Subject: an examination of 7 critical phrases used by women, the underlying communication breakdowns they represent, and why contextual understanding, rather than blanket, non-pardon, is crucial for healthy conflict resolution. Executive summary.
It moves beyond the reductive premise of words men should never pardon, and instead analyzes 7 commonly cited phrases that often signal significant relational distress. The focus is not on condemning the speaker but on decoding the underlying message, which is frequently a last resort attempt to communicate unmet needs, profound hurt, or a collapsing sense of self within the relationship. A failure to understand the subtext of these phrases can lead to a cycle of miscommunication, resentment, and relationship dissolution. This report posits that the crucial action for the recipient is not to not pardon, but to listen, diagnose, and respond to the root cause. 1. Introduction. Beyond the words.
The concept of words you should never pardon is inherently flawed, as it promotes grudges over growth. In relational psychology, the content of a message is often less important than the process and the underlying emotion. Dr. John Gottman's research identifies the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse: criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling, as predictors of relationship failure. The phrases listed below are frequently manifestations of these destructive communication patterns. This report analyzes 7 such phrases, exploring their typical subtext, the relational danger they indicate, and a recommended course of action that prioritizes relational repair over punitive judgment. 2. The 7 phrases, a diagnostic analysis. Phrase 1. Fine. The superficial message, agreement, acquiescence, that the issue is resolved. The actual subtext, the relational danger, fine, is a conversational shutdown. It is a wall erected to end a futile exchange. It signals profound frustration, emotional withdrawal, and a belief that further communication is pointless. The speaker feels unheard and has disengaged to protect themselves. Researchable context. This aligns with Gottman's stonewalling, where one partner withdraws from interaction. It is often a response to physiological flooding, being overwhelmed by emotion, and, if habitual, is a strong predictor of relationship breakdown. Recommended action. Do not accept fine as closure. Recognize it as a red flag for disconnection. The response should be a de-escalation. It doesn't seem fine, and I care about how you feel. Can we take a break and come back to this when we're both calmer?
Phrase 2. Whatever. The superficial message, indifference, a lack of preference. The actual subtext, the relational danger, this is an expression of contemptuous dismissal. It communicates that the speaker, their opinion, or the relationship itself is no longer worthy of engaged effort. It is often a weaponized form of indifference used to convey superiority or deep-seated resentment. Researchable context. Gottman identifies contempt as the single biggest predictor of divorce. It stems from a history of unresolved conflict and a buildup of negative thoughts about the partner. Whatever is a verbal embodiment of this contempt. Recommended action. Address the contempt, not the content. A productive response is, whatever feels dismissive, and that hurts. It seems like there's a bigger issue here that we need to address. I want to understand. Phrase 3. I'm not mad. Said with clear signs of anger.
The superficial message, a denial of emotional state. The actual subtext, the relational danger. This is a conflict avoidance tactic that creates profound confusion and distrust. It invalidates the recipient's perception of reality, a phenomenon known as gaslighting, in its more severe, persistent forms. The speaker may fear direct conflict, feel it's unsafe to express anger, or believe their partner should just know why they're upset. Researchable context. This creates a double bind in communication, where both acknowledging and ignoring the anger lead to negative outcomes. It prevents authentic conflict resolution and forces issues to fester beneath the surface. Recommended action. Validate the observable reality without accusation. I hear you saying you're not mad, but your tone, body language is giving me a different signal. I want to respect your feelings, so if I've done something to upset you, I am open to hearing about it. Phrase 4. You're just like your father. You're just like all men.
The superficial message, a comparison to a negative archetype. The actual subtext, the relational danger. This is a globalizing criticism that attacks character, not behavior. It dismisses the individual's unique identity and frames them as an inevitable, flawed stereotype. This phrase often taps into deep, historical wounds or unresolved issues the speaker has with other men, making the current conflict about much more than the present moment. Researchable context. This is a classic example of a harsh startup and global criticism, which Gottman's research shows often leads to a defensive response, shutting down productive conversation. Recommended action. Set a firm but calm boundary against character assassination. I understand you're upset with me, and I want to hear that. But it's hurtful to be compared to my father or all men. Can you please tell me what I specifically did that upset you? Phrase 5. It doesn't matter.
The superficial message. The issue is trivial and not worth discussing. The actual subtext, the relational danger, similar to, fine, this signifies resigned defeat. The speaker believes that expressing their need or hurt will be futile, met with invalidation, or lead to a bigger fight. The message is, my feelings do not matter enough in this relationship to be worth the effort of addressing. Researchable context. This relates to the concept of emotional bid dismissal. According to Gottman, happy couples turn towards their partner's bids for connection 86% of the time. It doesn't matter, is the verbalization of a bid that the speaker expects will be rejected. Recommended action. Treat it as if it does matter. If it upset you enough to mention, then it matters to me. Please, I'm listening. I want to understand.
Phrase 6. Do what you want. The superficial message, permission for autonomous action. The actual subtext, the relational danger. This is very rarely genuine permission. It is a test, a high-stakes, passive-aggressive communication that sets a trap. The unspoken expectation is that the partner will choose the needs of the relationship or the speaker over their own desire. Failing, the test by taking the permission at face value often results in a significant escalation of conflict. Researchable context. This falls under passive-aggressive communication, which erodes trust and creates a no-win environment. It avoids direct responsibility for one's own preferences and sets the partner up to be the bad guy. Recommended action. Refuse to engage in the test. Call for directness. That doesn't feel like a real choice, and I don't want to make a decision that upsets you. Please tell me what you would prefer or what you're worried about so we can decide together.
Phrase 7. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. The superficial message, a declaration of termination. The actual subtext, the relational danger. This is the most critical phrase on the list. While it can be a final statement, it is often a cry of desperation and emotional exhaustion. It signals that the speaker feels the relational system is broken beyond their capacity to repair it. It is the verbal manifestation of having reached one's limit. Researchable context. This represents the final stage in the distance and isolation cascade, described by Gottman, which follows the failure to repair after the Four Horsemen. The speaker is flooded, hopeless, and disengaging. Recommended action. This is not the time for debate or defense. It is a moment for immediate, heartfelt, and non-defensive listening. The only productive response is, hearing you say that is terrifying, and it tells me how much pain you must be in. Please help me understand, what has brought you to this point?
3. Conclusion and synthesis. The common thread through all 7 phrases is not malice, but a catastrophic breakdown in secure attachment and effective communication. They are symptoms of deeper issues, accumulated resentment, feeling unheard, contempt, and a lack of emotional safety. The advice to never pardon these words is counterproductive. A more robust framework is to recognize the alarm. Understand that these phrases are not literal statements but distress flares indicating a core relational problem. Diagnose the subtext. Identify whether the underlying issue is contempt, stonewalling, criticism, or a desperate bid for connection. Respond, don't react. Shift from a defensive posture, I won't pardon that, to a connective one, that language tells me you're hurting. Let's talk about the real issue. Prioritize repair. The goal is to de-escalate and address the root cause, rebuilding trust and safety. In healthy relationships, conflicts are inevitable, but they are managed through direct, respectful communication. The phrases analyzed here are what happen when that system fails. The solution is not to weaponize words against a partner, but to use them as a diagnostic tool to heal the fractures in the relationship's foundation. 4. Areas for further research.
A quantitative study correlating the frequent use of these phrases with relationship satisfaction and longevity scores. A cross-cultural analysis to determine if the subtext and impact of these phrases are consistent across different societal norms regarding gender and communication. Neuroimaging studies to observe the brain activity of recipients when hearing these phrases, measuring activation in regions associated with social threat and pain, e.g., the anterior cingulate cortex.
If you enjoyed this, do me a huge favor. Subscribe for more, share your thoughts in the comments, and share this with a friend who'd appreciate it. Thanks for watching.